Cool. Well, it looks like we are live on the YouTube from what I can tell. So everybody, welcome to the 555 Fitness Pulse Check powered by Zoll. As always, I'm your host tonight, Pip from 555 Fitness. And as we start this every month that we've been doing it, we want to thank our partner, Zoll Medical, for allowing us to kind of hijack their platform and do some fitness and talk about some topics that we think are really important. And this month, May, is Mental Health Awareness Month as it's winding down. And I think this is a perfect time to kind of talk tonight about how the importance of physical fitness to mental health and wellness go together. And I'm really stoked and honored to have two of my good friends, Maddie and Cheese, with me tonight to talk about that. And we have some folks from all around the country joining in on this bro sesh, for lack of a term, or using a popular term within the functional fitness community type workout we have tonight that was programmed by our very own grant coordinator, CJ there, who's joining us from work tonight. CJ, you want to talk a little bit about this workout? Because I think it's cool. When you programmed it and you gave it to me, I looked at it and I'm like, this is different for us. This is, like I said, a bro sesh. But I think bro sessions like this, it's a good workout to do when we're talking about, mental health, because that's a topic we don't like to talk about too much in the emergency services. And when we think about fitness and functional fitness, it's a topic we don't like to do too much. But when we combine those two things, like the fitness end of the bro sesh, it attracts more people to doing it, right? Because everybody loves a good bicep curl. So what made you think of this one, CJ, when you were programming it? What's the thought process behind this?
So honestly, I was kind of just looking at what we've programmed recently, and we've done a lot of body weight stuff and we've been repetitive on some of our movements. And so I wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit and give people a chance to flex their muscle, So, and because everything's so in the air, a lot of people can't get fitness equipment right now. I think most of the gyms are opened up, but I figured leaving it open for weight, people could figure out what's good for them. They could grab a sandbag, they can grab an air pack, they could grab the kitty litter, dog food, whatever, and just move some stuff.
I would advise a light sandbag, because I did this workout earlier today and I got 6 rounds plus 37 reps. And I used a single 20-pound dumbbell, and that was more than enough for those 25 minutes. So when we talk about this workout, it's going to be a 25-minute AMRAP of 20 goblet squats, 20 bicep curls, 20 tricep extensions, and 20 weighted lunges. But just like with all 555 fitness workouts, we want you to customize this to what works for you. So if you have to cut the reps down to 15 or 10, cut the reps down to 15 or 10. You pick your weight that you want to use. When I went to do this earlier, I picked up that 25-pound dumbbell and quickly realized I didn't want to use that. So I went with the 20-pound dumbbell. And I thought about it for a little bit, but it definitely works for all the movements for me. So again, like CJ said, if you want to use a sandbag, if you want to use a dumbbell, if you have a weight plate available, like a 10-pound weight plate, you can do all these moves with that. If you have, it's like I'm a magician, right? I just keep pulling stuff out. If you have a band, this is another good one, that if you have a band, which I know a lot of stations have bands in them, you can do almost all the movements with this with a band. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. And it's cool that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people or so doing it with us tonight. They're going to be demoing all the moves as we go on with this. So you can see how they're doing it and how they're adjusting. Remember too, an AMRAP is as many rounds or reps as possible. So you're just going to keep working through that 20, 20, 20, 20 for 25 minutes. So you definitely do not want to jump out like rapid firing those bicep curls. This is nice, slow, consistent movement.
And probably go a little bit conservative on the weight. Like if you're like, I feel like I can knock this weight out, maybe go a little bit less.
I would definitely recommend going a little bit less. What about you, Cheese? I know, Cheese, you just did this workout, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm saving that one for tomorrow. So I'm at work tomorrow. And I did my Murph prep today for Memorial Day. So I didn't want to be beat.
I felt like this was really good Murph prep, believe it or not.
Even the world.
Oh no. Cheese, we don't got you, man. Your internet service is hurting wherever you're at. Can you maybe move? All right, that's not just me, CJ. That's Cheese too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He's frozen right now, but it's one of those things. I did it before, and I think it was definitely a good workout. It was good to be able to keep kind of working through it. And I was telling Daniel and Steven when they first logged on, around that 15-minute mark, I was blaming CJ for a lot of my problems in life in this workout. So that's what y'all can all do when you get into this. So, we're at about that 10-minute mark where we want to start the workout. If any of you guys have any questions, now would be the time to ask. If you're all ready, let's get into position. Let me see some thumbs up, and then I'll let you know when we start this clock. I got the clock running for you in here, so we'll keep an eye on that too. I didn't set up the 7-camera system tonight. I'm really sorry. And if you're at home watching on YouTube right now, feel free to hit the chat. We're here. I can answer you back in there as I'm kind of watching everybody get set up. But if you guys are all good to go, I'm going to give you that 10-second countdown. So we got 10 seconds going down now. 3, 2, 1, go ahead and hit it now. So as I talked about in the beginning, before we started getting into the workout a little bit, tonight's main goal is to talk about the importance of physical fitness as it relates to mental health and wellness. And our two guests tonight both have a lot of history in this topic and are basically experts in the field, or close to experts in the field, even though they'll probably tell me I'm not an expert in anything. But I want to introduce them and let them talk a little bit about themselves, and then we're going to get the conversation going. So go ahead, Maddie. Let's go first, Maddie, with a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
Thank you for having me. This is super cool. Blessed to be here. So let's see. My name is Matthew Fiorenza. I'm a Anaheim firefighter. I've been on the job 20 years, a long 20 years. Essentially, halfway through my career, the wheels fell off. And looking back now, I had the signs and symptoms of what we know now as post-traumatic stress. And the good news is I was able to get on the other side of it with the help of some really good folks. And I'm back to work, and I am doing a lot of things in the mental health arena to make sure that so our brothers and sisters in service don't suffer in silence. So that's it.
I think too, that's a big topic tonight that we can talk about too, Maddie, is that suffering in silence. Because, when we get together and we work out like this, even on Zoom, and we're doing it together, those emotions of being together, a lot of things come out as a group. And I think that's something that our culture is starting to change.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's all about starting the conversations. It's like you said, it's the stuff that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And we keep to ourselves a lot too. So I know we're going to talk about that as we go on. So Cheese, just a little bit about you, where you're from, and a little bit of your backstory, and then we're going to get rolling here for sure.
All right. My name is Jared Cheselske. I'm a captain with San Diego City Fire Department, Fire Station 21, Pacific Beach. Been in the fire service 26 years, and very similar to Maddie. The fire service ate me up, especially some other trauma that I had before the fire service that I brought in, some undiagnosed as well as unrecognized or acknowledged trauma. And, like Maddie, I was, able to get a hold of it with some solid people, support system, Maddie being one of them right there. And so thank you, brother. And several others, my family. And the interesting thing is we really, I sprained my ankle. Oh, what'd you do? You're going to tell that story 100 times, right? It's an acceptable excuse for an injury. It's welcomed, whatever. But when you say, I'm hurting inside, that's taboo. And we don't talk about it. We're barely scratching the surface to talk about it. And that's what we're here today to talk about.
Awesome. I mean, that is exactly, and that's a great start off for us too, Cheese, with this. And I know, Maddie, I've heard you tell your story a few times, and I know my own personal stories too that I have, where my department did the best they could to help me at the time, right? And that was going back, over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, let's say. And we've come so far from then. both in physical health and wellness and mental health and wellness. So as you've seen that progression, how do you see the two meshing, Maddie, together to make this change together?
In regards to physical and mental health, is that where?
Yeah. And as they kind of go together and how we're making that change, you know, the departments are doing more now than they were in the past. We think they're scratching that surface, but we're getting there, right?
Yeah, I think it's you know, some departments have been kicking the can down the road a little bit longer. Unfortunately, in my experience, it's the ones that have had suicides. You know, so you know, that's kind of how we are in the fire service, right? We just kind of we wait till the bad shit happens, and then we, you know, and then we
then we deal with it.
Right. So, excuse me. So we're you know, we're all over the place. It just depends on what department. Cheese's department in San Diego, they have a health and wellness division. I'm sure he'll talk about that. Really, really ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? It's what it comes down to is when, you know, we have these peer support teams. We know that the suicide epidemic is an issue. It's killing us more than line of duty deaths. So what do we do with guys and gals when they raise their hand and say, I'm not okay, right? And that's essentially where I kind of focus a lot, doing consulting with different departments is making sure that these departments have algorithms built into their policies that when somebody asks for help, we know how to get them to help, what vetted resources are out there, because some people are really good at it and some are just like, they're scrambling, you know. And with us, you know, once a guy asks for help or a gal asks for help, you pretty much have one chance, you know what I mean? So, but you know, physical fitness is, you know, it's always been a part of what we do. It's really, really important. There's science, and I'm sure you know all about this and your folks know all about this, but you know, we have all these chemical dumps when we're on duty, right? We have cortisol, adrenaline, melatonin, these chemicals that are putting us in this fight or flight response. And we're really good at processing those chemicals through our bodies. You know, it takes about 12 hours to get them, you know, gone. And physical fitness that's by far the best way to process those chemicals through our body, because they can do a lot of damage. The other thing, I teach meditation because meditation is a good way to process those chemicals through our brain, because they damage our neural pathways also.
Could you imagine, and we can look back as to, you know, we all have, Cheese has a little more time in the fire service than you and I, let's say, and things like that. But when you were getting hired, could you ever imagine talking about what you just said so well? Like it was rub some dirt on it. And I even feel like the ankle injury that Cheese talked about was like, hey, rub some dirt on that sprained ankle and get back on the rig. You got to work right now, you know? Totally.
Yeah. I mean, and I teach at the Basic Fire Academy here in Southern California. And, you know, it's not something that was discussed with us, you know, but it's super, super important. But no, I mean, and the stuff that I talk about when I go speak all over the country, and you've heard it, like, I never thought I'd be in a room with my peers talking about, you know, my childhood trauma, but it's important, you know, that you know. They're all big parts of this. And, you know, Cheese, you had said it before too, with bringing things along prior to becoming a firefighter, police officer, or paramedic, you know, whereas I honestly didn't even start to look at anything like that for myself or for anyone until I heard your story of it and realizing, you know, in our friendship and how that works. So maybe you could speak a little bit to that too, in our career path, how people are bringing along these traumas that we also have to recognize. And like Maddie kind of said, have that algorithm ready to handle and take care of.
Yeah. So, you know, that's probably been one of my biggest strucks or like aha moments, is that we all come into this with stuff that happened before the fire service, because we lived life before we came here. We at least had a minimum of 18 years of life before we got on the fire department, right? Because that's the minimum age, some older. And so we all have something. And the key, I think, is acknowledging it and not being afraid of it. But process. It doesn't mean don't be a firefighter. But just to touch base on a little bit about bringing that on, from my childhood and then also military service. I served in Iraq for a tour, and I brought that along with me. And we have a ton of veterans in the fire service. And one thing, Maddie, him and I have talked a lot about this on the side, is a lot of us that do have some kind of adverse childhood environment or some pre-trauma, we were naturally migrated to this field because we can help people. We develop that ability to help ourselves or whatever it is, whether it was a good help or a bad help. We got these things that, hey, I'm going to help so that doesn't happen to me. I'm going to help you. And that's how we go. And to bring all that in, that's what attracts so many people to the fire service, because we're helpers, we're rescuers, we fix things, and that's what we do. Sometimes we don't fix ourselves.
That's such a huge part of it. And that's right where I was going with it. You guys are also right around the 15-minute mark for everybody at home or everybody on the Zoom crushing this workout. So this is where it's 15 more minutes to go, and you're in that mental mindset of you got to keep pushing through. Keep the movement good. Try and stay nice and consistent with it. And geez, that's one of those things that with 555 Fitness we've always talked about, is that we're all helpers. And that's what attracted us to these career pathways, is we can help others. And we tend to forget to help ourselves. And when I think about it in a fitness way, I always like to say help. When I think about it in a mental wellness way, I like to use that word fix more, where we're always fixing problems, because that's what we do, right? We get called to a scene, and it could be getting keys out of a storm drain. We're fixing someone's problem, and that makes us feel good. But when we have our own problems, we don't call anyone to come and fix them, right? We try to fix them ourselves because we're fixers, and you just can't. And I know you both have vast experience helping emergency responders do that, but maybe Maddie, you could talk a little bit more about that fixing and the actual reaching out that we need to be doing and that communicating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right. There's a lot of stigma, and that, hey, if I go and I say that I'm struggling mentally, am I going to lose my job? Right? Or am I going to be singled out? Are people going to lose confidence in me? And unfortunately, it's killing us. It's really sad. But what I like to do is when I say behavioral health or mental health, when I'm teaching, I tell people, look, if you don't like the word, then change it to brain health, because that's what it is. Essentially is exactly what it is. So, how do you know you're drifting when the organ you use for cognition is injured? Because it's a brain injury. Trauma causes a brain injury. We know that now, you know what I mean? So it's just about getting this information out to the masses so that that stigma gets squashed, right? And that we realize that the wheels are going to fall off for some of us, right? It's just, if someone's trapped inside and an air conditioner falls on one of our brothers or sisters, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure we get that person out, right? It's the same thing. We got to start looking at it the same way. Just because it's not a visible injury, we can't see it. So we need to start showing up for each other. Just because we don't struggle doesn't mean that we can't support our brothers and sisters in service. So, it's just a matter of having the conversations, getting the algorithms put into place so that people can get help when they need it and get back to work. It's that simple. So, it's about conversations. It's about making it normal.
It's one of those things too, where it's almost not even the if it's going to happen, it's the when it's going to happen.
100%.
Because I know for me personally, for many years in my career, I always thought it would start with that line of duty death. It's only those people that are affected, you know what I mean? Or maybe of that level. And those things happened to me in my career. But as I've progressed in my career, I've learned so many more things about processing this. So that talking about it and being way more open, they say like all the world's problems are solved at the kitchen table. well, that's great. We're solving all these other world problems, but we don't want to talk about our own problems. You know, that same conversation can come up.
Right. And there are a lot of different treatments for trauma, you know, and not one thing fits everybody. You know, that's the other thing too. You know, it's not all talk therapy or CBT or EMDR. You know what I mean? Like neurofeedback. There's all kinds of things out there that some work for some people and some work for others. You know, and there's not one fix for it. You know, so that's the other thing too, is that we have to be able to kind of just be patient, you know, because it takes a long time for us to get sideways. You know, it takes a minute to heal this thing and restore those neural pathways and get us into different loops. I mean, it's a complicated thing, and it's a lot of work, you know. But here's the thing: if we build resiliency into our new people, and we have these conversations early on, right? And we teach this stuff at the academy. We have, you know, we talk about meditation. We talk about, you know, if, you know, when it happens, that you're not broken, you're not crazy, you're not weak, you're just human. You're just, you're you know, we're not superheroes, you know, even though we like to pretend that we are, we're human like everybody else. So.
We just play one on TV. Go ahead, Cheese. I know you got excited there with resiliency. So go ahead, man. What do you got? I saw it coming. You guys are under that 10-minute mark too, by the way, and you're all crushing it. Daniel, I see you got somebody else off camera working out with you. He popped in. So good stuff. You got somebody there with you. But keep it up, guys. You're almost there. Go ahead, Cheese. Resiliency. I got to do both things here. Oh no! Now Cheese froze again.
At least he froze smiling.
He did freeze smiling. He does have a great picture. Sometimes CJ freezes when we have 555 business meetings and we all take pictures of ourselves making her face.
My internet's doing a little weird stuff. You hear me okay?
You're coming in a little bit, but not perfect yet. So we'll give you a couple more seconds here. You know, there he goes. Now you're back. You're in.
Okay. Hey, you know, I wanted to touch, like, Maddie nailed it on the head. You know, we can do about 100 years, right? We can, that's for sure, 100. But going forward is the resiliency. We can teach that, like Maddie said, and that's one thing that I am 100% on board with. Everybody knows on my crew, I have a morning practice. You know, it consists of meditation, enlightenment, service, and gratitude. And then sometime during the day, I'm going to get in a workout. And so that's just, and I went a long periods of time without doing that. And those were like some of my darkest times in my life. And those actually 2000 till about, you know, just, and, you know, and finally I just had to, you know, I had all this support system. Everybody was there rooting for me, but I wasn't rooting for myself. And so jumping back on the workout train, plus I had put in these other mechanisms to resilience, and adding the workout be gnarly. Just has to body. What happens is it helps all those chemicals that Maddie was talking about. It really helps just process them out of your body faster and out of the brain. You know, your blood's flowing, and sometimes too, get a little aggression out if you're frustrated at something. You know, and so that's been a big part for me, is the resiliency, and that's one of the things I'm very fortunate that I get to teach in the Fire Academy. I get to tell a little brief of my story, but then I also really get to talk about self-care and resiliency, and being able to, you know, raise your hand when you need it, or even if you just raise your hand to yourself and say, "What am I doing? And what can I be doing to make myself more healthy that I'm not doing now because I'm not feeling healthy?" And to being able to recognize that is huge.
And it's so important for
Maddie
us.
and Maddie's like my mentor. There you go. Maddie's
so
like my bro mentor,
Cheese,
man.
For what you're saying too.
You're crushing it, Cheese.
You are. Cheese is definitely crushing. I'm not. Cheese has always crushed it in my mind. But you know, one of those things that you said in all of that too is we're teaching it. and we're living it. You know, and we definitely talked about that with 555, where, you know, we're out here doing the workouts. We're out here doing this every day. And it's the same as resiliency. You know, you have no problem sharing your morning routine with everyone on your crew, you know, because you're sharing that with them and they see that's how we're going to solve this problem. And are we going to solve it overnight? Are we going to solve it with one Zoom workout here tonight? No, but more people are going to hear the message and they're going to hear the importance of it and they're going to see it right in front of them. And the more avenues we have to go after that, that's going to make the change that has happened in the fire service in our careers and is going to continue to go. And you guys have got about 5 minutes and 30 seconds left. So this is the last round or two to go, as I see Steven not liking CJ right now. So definitely
Pip,
the way
can I say something, Pip?
Yeah, man, we can, by all means.
One thing that I wanted to really talk about too is on the job injuries. So on the job injuries happen, right? We're in a career that we're prone to get injured, right? I think everybody on this podcast today or on this YouTube has been injured, whether it's mental, physical, whatever. But one is exercise helps prevent injuries. Two, it helps recover faster when you do get injured if you're physically fit. And the other thing is when you're injured, depression can sit in. And I've experienced that myself. And so to be able to have resiliency mentally to keep yourself accountable to work out is going to pay on the back end for if and when you do get injured. One, you come back faster, and two, you're already in a routine so you don't go into that depression, which we all know leads down into lots of other self-destructive mechanisms.
Yes,
so,
for sure. It's something too that I know I was always kind of a fitnessy person from like post high school to now, let's say, but to realize that all these other benefits, aside from just like going to the club and fist pumping and things like that, that like you have this mental awareness of yourself, you know? And I mean, I'm to the point now with Mrs. Pip where like, she's like, when's the last time you worked out? Because you seem extra edgy. Or did you go hard enough in workouts the past couple of days? Because there's something that's not necessarily right. I need that stress relief. And that's a huge part of it for us as emergency service providers to be able to do that and to not go down those roads.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% cheese. And you know, when I injured my back, when my workouts fell off and I couldn't, you know, and I was just trying to manage to get through a shift, it was miserable, man. Like you know, we're active people. We're moving, you know what I mean? We're working out. And then you talk about hypervigilance, you know, I was laid up with the back injury. So you take a person that's normally active, works out all the time, you lay them up on an injury, you know, I'm counting knots on the ceiling, and, you know, our amygdalas are twice the size of normal people's, right? And that's the part of our brain that is responsible for dumping cortisol, adrenaline, melatonin into our bodies. They grow, right? So you lay a guy out and you have him staring at the ceiling. It's insanity. It's insane. It's insane to be hypervigilant and laid up and not be able to you know, function, much less like work out. So, you know, 100%. Super.
It's one of my biggest fears is being laid up like that and wondering what's going to go through my mind when I can't do all this activity that I'm used to doing. Right.
Pick up the phone and you call Cheese or I, and we'll teach you how to meditate and we'll get you through it, bro. But
that I know. And that's a big deal, right? That is a huge deal, that just knowing the fact that I have that ability to pick up the phone and call anyone on this screen, you know, type of a thing. And you have that. Those are things that I never even thought about before when it comes to our mental health, right?
The 1,000-pound phone.
2 minutes. Sorry, gotta keep them on time too, guys.
That's good. Yeah,
I like Maddie's reference. He said the 1,000-pound phone, because that's what it feels like when you're depressed, when you are in that space, that dark space, that phone feels like it's 1,000 yards away.
Yeah, you just add to it. And that's what we've been doing, how Maddie said before, you know, kicking the can down the road. You know, whether it's a department kicking the can, a crew kicking the can, or an individual kicking the can. And you have to hope that we're making these positive changes through things like everything Maddie and Cheese you were doing. You know, it's just going to continue to go this way. I love the positivity that we just keep bringing to this topic, because I'm not even going to sit and lie. I don't like to talk about this topic too much because, like you said before, Maddie, it's sort of a dark topic. Pick whichever word you want to use, but it's so good that we keep it positive in this way. And you guys got a minute left in your workout, so get these last reps in. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it is positive. You know, it's, you know, obviously no one wants to talk about our shortcomings, right? But when we can talk about the science behind it and what happens to our brains, and, you know, guys can really latch onto that, because there's, you know, it's not like this, you know, this old wives' tale thing that we're, you know, crazy. You know, there's actual science behind what happens to our brains. And once guys can understand that, you know, then it's like, okay, I get this brain health, you know, thing. And it's totally positive. I mean, you know, self-care is a positive thing, you know, getting your workouts in, like Cheese said, making sure you get your meditation in, you know, like packing up the family and going to the river, you know, or doing the RV trip is not really self-care.
2,
you know?
1, time, guys. Good job in the workout, everybody. Good job, man. You guys take a blow while we keep talking here. Keep going, Maddie. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you know, self-care is it's a positive thing. You know, it's like, it's taking time every day to make sure that I do what I call, and what Cheese calls, our daily practice. You know, we have a daily practice. We come from a community of practice, and, you know, for me, it includes prayer, meditation, you know, connecting with other people. Accountability is big time. Like for workouts, you know, accountability partner when you're doing your workouts. When it comes to the mental health stuff, accountability partners are a must. You know, you need to have really good men in your life, and women that you trust. You know, that it's a judgment-free zone. Like Cheese and I are tight. You know, there's nothing that he can tell me that, you know, I'm not going to love him. You know, and that goes for you too. You know, I just, you know, I don't live in the space of judgment anymore. So I like to be that safe place for people. So accountability is huge with this. You know, if I call Cheese, or if he calls me and he's sideways, you know, the first thing we're going to say is, did you meditate today? Right. And if he's like, I didn't, call me back in 20 minutes kind of thing. But, you know, it's super important that we hold each other accountable to making sure that we do our daily practice. And it's self-care. You know, what's so bad about self-care, right? This is, you know, it's a positive thing.
It's so good, and we still talk about it like, oh, what's this thing? It's so good, right? Working out is so good. Self-care is so good. You want to share it with everyone, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, you do. Look what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And and the reason why we call it daily practice is because you don't want to try to learn the things that we do in our daily practice when you're having a mental health crisis. It's very, very difficult to learn how to meditate, to learn how to take care of yourself when you're injured, right? That's why it's good to have your daily practice in place, just like going to soccer players go to soccer practice for when they're in the game and shit's going bad. They know the plan to resort to, right? It's the same concept in taking care of yourself. You practice these things so that when bad stuff happens, you can already have them in place, and you don't have to practice them. You just implement the plan. And that's the easy way for me to express it, to explain it to other people.
That's it. That is like the secret sauce right there. And teaching that to everyone in the emergency services, you know, definitely the recruits, but all the old salty dogs that have been around and doing it one way, you know, explaining that to folks, you know, and it has me wondering now as we're talking about this, like, man, I really need to do some things better, more better. I'm going to use that fireman term, more better on a daily basis. More better than I normally do,
you know,
for sure.
You talk about the old salty dogs, man, that group of folks, man, they're breaking my heart. You know, they you know, they disconnect, they fill that seat with someone else, and you remember that guy, you know, and if it's your identity, which it is, I mean, it's the best job in the world, right? So you have to have something to retire to. You know, you're not retiring from, you're retiring to. And a lot of guys think that when they retire, that this stuff's gonna get better, and it gets worse. It does not get better. So we have to skillfully process this stuff, and we're working. I'm working with a few people on trying to get our guys properly transitioned. I don't think they do there's like a financial transition, but there's no
other aspect to it except that now you're retired. You get a shield,
Yeah.
It's a party, and
Right.
talk. Come by anytime for coffee, right? That's what we say. That's exactly
Right.
what we say.
And a lot of those guys, they come for the first year and then they stop coming because there's all these new kids. They don't recognize anybody, and I talk to so many retired guys that are struggling, man, and they're salty and they don't like this mental health thing, and they're the rub some dirt on it and shut up kind of guys and gals. But I really, if we can crack that shell of those folks, then we can get to the good stuff, and we can change the culture. I mean, it's about changing the culture, really. But my heart goes out to our retired folks, because they're stubborn, and they're struggling.
That's right. And, I didn't think when we kind of started 555, we were going after a younger crowd. But as we grew, that older, salty crowd started seeing what we were doing and seeing that they could do it too, and realizing, hey, I want to be better in retirement, right? Because that's my goal, is to be better in retirement. So hopefully as the fitness end catches up and the mental health end catches up, we're starting to make that change and grab these folks. Because they are important, and it is important to include them in all of these different talks that we have and things. So I think that's another good point to make for sure.
Hey, Pip, speaking of salty old dogs, that guy in the picture right there that was still working out, he came in late to the party and he's still finishing up, and he's a senior guy on our shift. So
that is awesome stuff. What did are you guys replacing the lunges? So now we're going to talk about fitness for a little bit here. You replacing the lunges with step ups?
Yeah. A little
Totally
easier
awesome.
on the knees. On one of our workouts in the past, I did it, and it feels a lot better for us taller guys than the lunges. So,
that's a good modification right there.
Not for shorter guys. Step ups are not a good modification in any way, shape, or form. But those modifications are good. What'd you think, Corey, joining in? So in the middle of my screen here, but on the Zoom screen, he's down on the right. Corey Sierra is from the Silver Valley Fire Alliance. They are the 2021 first 555 fitness grant winner, is the easiest way I'm going to say it in his department. So thanks for joining us tonight on your first ever pulse check with us. What'd you think of the workout tonight?
Oh man, the workout was killer. I did it with a kettlebell the entire time. So my hands were getting a little sweaty. I don't know if you guys seen in the background. I actually dropped the kettlebell a minute, but really solid workout, man. This is a fun little get together. I'm glad that we can do it virtually too. As you can see, I'm off shift right now, so it's kind of cool that we can do this virtually. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. I'm gonna try and be in here every time I can.
That's awesome, Corey. And Corey and the Silver Valley Fire Alliance are a volunteer department out in California. I don't know, I'm not going to mess up your part of California that you're from, but that part of California that you're from, and I think something too we tend to talk about a lot is, fitness and mental health on the career end of the fire service. But this affects the volunteer end of the emergency services, both fire and EMS, the exact same way. So Maddie, in your talks and folks that you're out there talking with, when it comes to the volunteer end, the speech doesn't necessarily change, right? But probably the delivery. So can you speak to that a little bit for the volunteers that are tuning in tonight?
Yeah, first of all, let me say God bless you. God bless you, because knowing what I know now, 20 years, like I said, best job in the world, bro, I don't know if I do it for free. I'd like to think that I would. But you guys that go out there and do this job for free and volunteer to do it, you are a special breed, so God bless you for what you do. I can't say enough about it. The conversation is the same. unfortunately, because, volunteers are volunteer, a lot of the resources that departments would have in place, they're just a little bit slower to kind of put those in place. So, but the conversation is the same. You know what I mean? Like it's our brains are the same. It doesn't matter if we get paid to do it, we volunteer to do it. It affects us the same. So there are quite a few vetted resources out there when it comes to behavioral health or mental health, when it comes to peer support, neurofeedback, therapy, you name it. There are a lot of nonprofits out there right now, and there's more that are starting to emerge. So my thought and the message that I'd like to get out to our volunteers is that there are nonprofits out there that will help pay for you to go see a counselor, a culturally competent counselor. That's super important. One that's off the top of my head that I can think of is Next Rung. It's called Next Rung. Blake Stinnett, he's in Georgia, and Charlie Brown's out here in Glendale. All mental health. They raise a lot of money. Just reach out because there are resources for you that are free.
And I think too that's the key, is that reaching out and having that department level of awareness of this as something that they have to be paying attention to, because I'm not going to say it's an excuse, but we're volunteers, that doesn't count in this. It's kind of like the same as the fitness end of it. That doesn't count, right? Like you still need to be physically fit. You still need to be paying attention to your people's mental awareness.
And I would say if you're, be that guy on the volunteer department. Just take it upon yourself to go out and start looking up some of these nonprofits and see what they do, and see, there's a lot of them. Get my information somehow. I'm sure it'll be available, but give me a call and we'll talk about it. But be that guy. Be the guy that guys and gals come to when they're struggling. That's I was not always the nicest guy, before I had what I like to call my transformation. I wasn't a nice guy, and I wasn't the kind of guy that people would come and tell their secrets to, and I'm that guy now. And that's really, really, really important to me, to make sure that I'm not the guy around the table that's, talking bad about people. And, I'm just, I'm here, I'm available. I'll get you the help you need. It'll never be mentioned as a judgment-free zone. I know Cheese is the same way. So I would say for our volunteers, just, reach out. Let's get you a one pager with a bunch of resources on there that are free for your folks.
Yeah, I think that's a big key part to know, that there's so much help out there, and it's just a matter of how you can find it. What's up, Cheese? I saw you got something.
I was just gonna parlay on what Maddie was saying, and also with peer support groups. Super simple to start a peer support group. All you have to do is have somebody willing to commit to being there for other people. I run a peer support group in San Diego. Maddie is the one that helped mentor me into that. And I've helped others begin support groups as well. Super simple format, and just being available and a safe place for people to come once a week, every other week, whatever, just to get off their chest whatever's happening or whatever's going on. And not only for that, but for other people to come to support other people, even if you're not in crisis, just to show up, to show support to your brothers and sisters. And contact Pip to get my information too, if anybody wants to be mentored or learn how or get started in a peer support group in their department or in their area.
We'll make sure too we get your guys' info. It'll be down in the blurb on YouTube there with the info. And Cheese, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am with this. You also run a peer support group that's more involved with families, right? With your spouse and helping not just us, but remember, when we come home, there's peoples that we live with, whoever you live with, however that is, that are also affected by us and what it is we do. Can you speak to that a little bit too on the end of it?
Yeah. And they take a brunt of beatings from us, not physically, but emotionally, because a lot of times we're shut off, we're cold, we're tired. And so My wife runs a spousal / significant other peer support group. She does hers twice a month. On matter of fact, one is tonight in San Diego. It's located in La Jolla, California, and it's a safe place for spouses to come and get support. Maybe they're new spouses in the fire service and want some guidance on how to adjust to the shift schedule. Maybe it's they're whatever the case is. It doesn't really matter what it is. They're just there to support. My wife's been competently trained in spousal and peer support, and she guides the meeting. And she has a good group down there, and she's been doing that for now 2 months now, and a lot of positive and a lot of success out of that. So reach out to me. I could put Patty in touch, and she's more than happy to help those who want to start a family or peer support group for significant others and spouses as well. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I think the first time I heard really anything about that was from you, to be honest with you, just recently. And it just was something that, again, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Like this is something that's been needed forever, right? And now we're finally getting.
Totally. I'm so proud of Cheese and his wife for making that happen. I mean, you know, there's this thing, it's called secondary trauma, and it's what we bring home to our families. And so, you know, in my experience, you know, we were getting all this help. When I say we, you know, the first responder, and the wives were calling me and going, what about me? You know, can I go to Save a Warrior? Can I do this? Can I do that? It's like, you guys are getting all the help, and we're taking the, you know,
you're getting the shaft, essentially, right?
Exactly.
Nothing. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So peer support groups, you know, that's fantastic. I can't, peer to peer and supporting each other in that way is absolutely like the best way to kind of navigate this stuff. I do a spouses retreat. It's a 4-day retreat in Temecula. It's an intense retreat. I'm really, really proud of it, and it's for spouses. And so we really need to start focusing not just so much on us and our mental health, but our families too. And I can't wait to get involved with I got some ideas for our kids too. So.
Yeah, because that's another big part of it all too. When we play into this, and as we learn more, it's just going to progress. And I think like you had said before, it's all science based. It's all out there. We know this. Now we're just moving the ball forward, right? So we got some other folks joining us tonight. I want to thank our 2018. I want to say it was grant winners Beaver Dam for joining us tonight down there in their meeting room. Eric Thiel and his crew. I don't know if you guys can unmute if you want to join in on the conversation, if you have a microphone or not. I really don't know. But thanks for joining us. Feel free to jump in on this. Daniel, Steven, CJ, you have any questions or anything you'd like to add personally? You guys kind of know the drill. So.
I didn't get to listen to a lot of the conversation, but I know that this one, especially, I wanted to join in because this has hit home for me recently, probably about a month ago. So I reached out to Pip looking for help because I had become, like y'all were talking about earlier, the guy that nobody went to. I was the guy that everybody went to, that was friends with everybody. And all of a sudden I realized I was somebody that nobody wanted to be around. I had a lot of emotional issues going on that I didn't know was happening, and it hit all of a sudden, just like a train wreck. So I reached out to Pitt to try and get some help. I was looking up Center for Excellence, Rosencrantz Foundation, all of the big name ones, but they're all substance abuse based. So it was really hard to find just a strict emotional support network or anything. Luckily, I caught it early. I got into some counseling and everything's turning around, but it's no joke. I'm surprised more people aren't coming out with problems.
I think too, Daniel, don't even discount yourself with that. I think more and more people are. And because we have groups like this and people like you and Maddie and Cheese that we're all talking about this, it's coming to this forefront more as a different, I'm going to say issue, but just different topic that we all need to be talking about, right? And so it was, I'm so happy that everything is working out good for you with that. And I know Maddie just unmuted. So what do you got on this one, Maddie?
Yeah, I just, I just got to say, bro, it takes a lot of courage to want to heal and to ask for help. So good on you, bro. Good on you. And it's cool that you recognized it. You were aware of it. So, you're just going to be that much stronger and better to be of service to your brothers and sisters and moving forward in this stuff. So, yeah, kudos, bro. Good work.
And especially too, to that part, like we said, we're helpers, we're fixers, and people are coming to us, but we have to help ourselves. And that's exactly what you did, man. And I'm so, like I said, I'm so proud of you for that. It's great.
Yeah, it was tough. It was definitely weird to not know what was going on with myself, and kind of scary. And I didn't like it, and I didn't want it to get any worse. It was not good for anybody. And by getting myself help slowly but surely, I'm able to notice things with my spouse. She's an ER nurse, and I can kind of talk to her and be like, hey, I was just going through that. Let's see if we can fix it so you don't have to go through that, and trying to help her as much as I can. And I want to take it even further. And like y'all are doing, be an advocate for my department. We've had some guys that have gone through Center for Excellence and some other places. And it's, I think it's becoming more prominent.
Can I add some on that note?
Yeah, man.
If that's okay, if you guys don't mind. I think a common misconception is that, especially us as first responders, when the misconception is asking for help is, it may be a sign of weakness or something like that. But when in actuality, it's actually a sign of strength, because it shows that you could recognize an issue and hop on it before it gets any bigger, like Daniel did. And I think conversations like these, and especially now this is recorded, it helps open up that dialogue so that the culture can shift from it being, instead of being misconstrued as a sign of weakness, that it really is a sign of strength, because it really is. I think that's important, and it's kind of brave too, for somebody like Daniel or anybody to say, hey, I need help with anything, even if it's not like mental health related. Just, hey, I need help moving this. I need help moving my my house.
This is it.
Jobs.
Somebody's got a job. This is,
Job
Daniel
here.
always gets a job. Is he riding? If he's driving the back,
Hi, Daniel.
then I'm going to be angry, right? But this is truly. See, I'm trying to talk and not seem like he's going to. No,
Yeah.
he's not driving the back. Then it doesn't matter if he's not driving the back, right? This asking
He's
for
running.
help, right, Corey? This asking for help is what it used to be. Hey, help me put a roof on my house, bro. Right? That probably at that time was like, oh, I'm asking someone else to help me put a roof on my house. I should do this by myself. Now this is the new way to ask for help, right? That's totally cool and showing that sign of strength.
Hey, Pip, can I tell you what is a true sign of strength? Is when I watch Steven do 225-pound thrusters at the Indianapolis Firefighter Challenge. When he was on my team, he did thrusters with 225 pounds, unbroken.
That's a whole different kind of strength right there, right? But that's that strength that we all
Yeah,
have
but that
out
takes
there, right?
mental strength. It takes physical strength. It was amazing. I just wanted to throw a shout out to Steven because he's been quiet the whole time.
Nah, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Actually, I came across some of those pictures and videos the other day. I was looking at them and that. But I think as a whole, this whole conversation is something that at a department, at a personal level, a department level, organization, nationwide and globally, we have to be the advocates ourselves. We have to open up our own personal stories and show that, like what Corey was saying, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's a sign of strength that we recognize with ourselves, that there's something that we can't take care of. And we need to find that resource of that person that we can confide in and talk to, whoever it might be, that can lead us in the right direction. And the more we have these open conversations, whether they're videotaped, one-on-one group organizations, and people see that, it'll just help open that conversation for other people. Someone might see this later tonight, tomorrow, a month from now, 2 months from now, a year from now. You go, hey, you know, some of what those guys were saying struck a chord with me, and I need to talk to somebody. I need to get something off my chest, because I mean, I've noticed in the almost 20 years that I've been in the fire service, when I came in, it was, you got back from a graphic run, whatever it might be, and everybody just sat around the table, drank coffee, and no one talked. No one reached out and said, hey, or pulled somebody aside and said, hey, I know you're the new guy. Are you okay? Did anything with this bother you? That resource wasn't there at the time. Now we're starting to realize that. I think there was a story not too long ago that someone published, you know, talking about how is 20 years in the fire service too long because of all the stuff that firefighters go through on a daily basis. Can we truly
function almost?
I'm sorry.
No, I know the story you're speaking of. Like, is it too long? You know, can we?
You know, yeah. You know, is 20 years too much? Can we truly have firefighters working 20, 25, 30, 35 years doing the same thing and expecting them to have a good life after the fire service? You know, at what point is too much? When do you decide to retire? You know, and those things that we don't talk about now, what is it in retirement or somewhere down the road that you drive past a car wreck, you drive past a house fire, you drive past this, you smell something in the air, you're at home doing something and you cooking, and all of a sudden you smell something. What's going to trigger an adverse effect to somebody of having a flashback, having nightmares at night, whatever it might be? And how do significant others, spouses, girlfriends recognize what's going on, and even them being able to say, stop for a second, breathe, let's figure out what's going on and get you the help that you might need. What direction do we go? Them having that outlet to say to somebody else, hey, I think my spouse is having a problem. I think my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever, might be having a problem. What resources do they have available at that time to be able to help somebody else without that individual feeling like they're being thrown underneath the bus, or that they're, you know, someone's trying to do something for them that they don't want them to.
You know, and
get them help.
All that you just said too, you know, that is so true for all of us. I can, like you said, that you see something, you drive by something, you have those smells. I don't know, I couldn't tell you the time I realized I wasn't the only one that was like that, right? Every one of us here can put our hand up and say that was me. I still have those smells today.
I hate road flares. I'm dead serious. I smell a road flare and physiological response.
I mean, and those things happen to all of us, and saying that out loud and verbalizing that and understanding this is normal, this is okay. And talking about, you know, you hating road flares to people, you know, to a person walking down the street would have no understanding of that. Probably they'd be like, oh, it's because you're a fireman or whatever. But I understand why that may be. You don't have to tell me, you know what I mean? And I think us sharing these things, like we said, you know, 10 years down the road, because this is recorded and on YouTube, then, you know, that's what could happen. Oh, Daniel's on his way back. It's just a fire alarm, as he told me. It's got a text in there. Update the viewers at home. It's just a fire alarm. Sorry. CJ, I can't hear you. I don't know. I'm not getting anything. I don't know. Are you guys getting anything? Your microphone's busted. I hear some things. You could sign, if you could sign. You could hold up a sign like the YouTube video. Try now. What do you got?
Any better?
A little bit. You're not loud enough though, maybe.
Weird. I was just gonna say, last year I went through some stuff, and I think that my education that I've gotten through doing the peer support and through, talking to people through our organization and stuff, and getting a little bit educated on mental health and the things to look for, helped me realize that I was starting to go down a bad path, and helped me prevent going down that bad path. The want to withdraw and go into your hole and not talk to anybody. I felt it coming on, and so I made myself go out. Anytime a friend invited me, I went out with them and was able to kind of steer it that way. So I think having this conversation and making it a topic and educating people not only on resources but things to look out for with themselves will help with those things, where people get to identify in themselves before it becomes a bigger issue.
Which is a huge part of it too, is that identifying that you have that type of an issue going on. And how do you feel, Maddie, too, in your experience with that being
yeah, I mean, that's right. That's did you guys know that the first sign and symptom of post-traumatic stress is losing interest in the things that you enjoy doing? Like tinkering on your boat, spending time with your family, like you name it. That's one of the first things that kind of falls off. And in hindsight, I can look back now and go, okay, that makes sense. Like, but most people don't know that. So awareness is that's the key right now. That's the world we're living in right now. Like we need to be aware. Like I said, and we got to look out for each other, because when you're brain injured, sometimes you don't know. Your buddy's got to be like, hey dude, you're not behaving like yourself. Like something up, like let's get you situated, so, but we got to know what to look out for, and the scary thing is, folks, is that we have a suicide epidemic going on. This is what drives me when it comes down to it. At the end of the day, I don't want my brothers and sisters in service to be killing themselves. And I know the faces, I work with these folks, and it was me for a minute. You start, because of the brain injury, suicide becomes an option. You start looking for the exit, and all it is to shut this thing off, and that's scary. That's really scary. So we need to jump on this thing, and we need to catch it at I really don't like tinkering on my boat. I don't know what's wrong with me. We need to catch it at that before it gets really, really bad, because we can't have our folks killing themselves. Like, it just cannot happen. There's a solution for it.
I know, for one, I did not know that. I thought it would be like almost the adage of the I'm not having a heart attack, like, no, I'm fine type of a thing, so you saying that and thinking, paying more attention to my brothers and sisters that I work with after a call. And I know I'm trying to be way more hyper aware about myself, about everyone around me these days, but any more education I can get to it, like CJ said, having that knowledge to help myself and to help everyone else, I just want it to keep kind of coming on board. And I feel like my hope, and I know, Maddie, you said you had some things in the works, and we all have things in the works when it comes to what we have doing, but I know I love being a firefighter. I love fire training. I love fitness. I love all these things. And I want to get something that's kind of combining them, right? Because we're really good about talking about fitness, and we're really good about talking, mental health, let's say. We're getting better at talking about it. We are amazing of like, let's force doors and cut holes in roofs and stretch lines and flow water and argue about pistol grip nozzles versus not pistol grip nozzles, and who's throwing a ladder here, who's throwing a ladder there. Imagine if we were able to combine that all. We get a little maintenance in the morning, and a little fitness in, and some meditation. We get our minds in the right place. Then we have our arguments about nozzles and ladders and throw ladders and things. We put all that kind of stuff together, and we work on it as a whole. I think that's something that I'm hoping that is going your direction, at least.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think if we were to, as a crew in the morning, shut the TV off, and turn that thing off, turn off the negative box, and do a 20-minute meditation every day, we change the face of the fire service. I promise you, so that's my goal some days to, just to come in and not turn on the television and just everyone do a check-in, you know what I mean? Like, how's everybody doing? Do a meditation and call it good, and to speak to what you're saying, the reality is that, everything changes and ends, it's just part of life. And these things that we love doing so much, we're not going to be able to do it at some point, and we need to be okay with that, right? We need to be okay with that. We need to, first of all, just, be in gratitude, like Jared talked about. Gratitude's huge, that we are able to do those things every day. And, I tell people, if you want to do something after you retire from the fire service, find something you love doing and go give it away for free.
I can totally speak to that one. Giving stuff away for free has been an amazing part of my life and my well-being and those around me's well-being, as I see CJ smiling there and like all you guys, everybody's a part of this thing that we've done. And that kind of, I don't think I used the word like gratitude before in my life until I started doing this good thing for other people. It's so hard to put into words, and I'm just going to make a joke because I do make jokes, but you have to turn your TV on in the morning because ours never goes off in the kitchen. It's the longest running TV in America.
Yeah. I turn it off. Any chance I get, I turn the thing off, or I put cartoons on or something.
I got you. I like the cartoons.
A lot of negative energy comes off that thing. Yeah, I just, there's just situationally aware. Yeah.
And you think about too, you called it the negative box and it is always on and you're watching the news and listen, man, we don't all agree on every topic in society, and you throw one of those out there and it's like you're setting your day up for failure almost, you know what I mean? To have those mental vibes or the negative vibes going, right?
Totally. And I'm so sensitive to energy. Jared could probably speak to this because of all the meditation I do, but it's just all energy. It's just all energy. Do you want to take that negative energy and get into that flow and be there? Or do you want to just be able to, not today, not my shit,
Yeah, we got to get you on the East Coast here. Maybe we could get some positive energy in New Jersey from you and Jared. Come out here and you could share some of this with us. Like you could put it out that way and just make it happen. That would be good. Let's start that way.
That'd be awesome. We love that.
What do you think, Cheese? The surf's good in Asbury. You could surf.
Oh yeah, I'm down. 100%. Wintertime, summertime. I'll surf anywhere, anytime.
But I think too, as we're a little over that hour mark, and I know you guys' time is precious, and this conversation I feel like could just keep going, but we want to keep everybody's time and value their time. And when Cheese and Maddie and I were kind of putting this together, we were really focused on keeping it physical related to mental related, but I think we were able to communicate our message about the importance of both, but really that change in the mental health awareness. And if anybody, I'm not going to just end it like this, but anybody wants to add anything more, like now would be the time as we're kind of getting to winding down here. But I really appreciate you guys and everyone that's been involved tonight, because again, I've learned some new things tonight, which is awesome.
I'll just close, by saying thank you again for what you do. Really, I mean, you're a special dude. And you really are, man. And I watched that commercial that you did for Verizon, and it's awesome, bro. It's awesome because you're so vulnerable, and that, that's just, it just speaks volumes of the person that you are, bro. So, Cheese, I love you, buddy. It was really good to be here. Don't wait till it's too late. If you feel like something's off, it probably is. Reach out, ask for help.
Eddie, where can folks find you too? Just throw out some info real quick. We'll get it down in the blurb, but real quick.
Let's see. Fireman Matty is my Instagram. So that's a good way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what I got going on. That's probably the best way. My phone number is no secret. I'll give you my phone number. You can put it out there. I mean, really, my phone is always on. I was got like 4 phone calls while we were on this call, of
I've called
people.
Matty and he's called me back. Never fear
Right.
when I needed to talk to somebody. And you're going to Alaska too soon too, so you're spreading the good word up in Alaska. You told me that.
I know.
So
Isn't that crazy?
You.
Yeah.
That
So
awesome.
So yeah, Fireman Matty. That's the best way to get a hold of me. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Cheese, what do you got wrapping up here, bud? Oh no, he's froze on my screen. Oh man. Oh, there he is. Nope.
Steve, for having me on. This has been an awesome conversation. I love talking about this stuff. Steven, good to see you. CJ, good to see you too. Corey, Daniel, nice meeting you on Zoom. It was awesome to hear from both of you. Like Matty, I'm available. My Instagram is Cheese Whizzle, but you can look me up on Facebook, Jared Cheselske, and I'll leave that spelling up to you. No.
We'll put that one in the blurb. It's a lot of letters.
Yeah, it'll be in the blurb. But make sure you take care of yourself and check in with yourself and the people that you work with. That's those are the people that are going to get us through our career, is the people around ourselves. So thanks again, Pip. Appreciate it.
No, man, I appreciate you guys. And again, this has just been an amazing conversation, and I want to thank everybody that are friends from Beaver Dam, Corey, Steven, CJ, Daniel, for jumping in and hitting this workout. Everybody at home, I know the other CJs hit the workout at home as well. She hit a message on YouTube before my computer died there. But as always, again, a huge thank you to Zoll Medical for allowing us to put this on this month and giving us their platform with the pulse check. We're definitely coming back next month with another workout for you. And then we're trying to plan in July with our good friend Chef AJ from Fork and Hose to talk about everybody's favorite summertime pastime with this, and that's cooking out on the grill. So Chef AJ is working on some grilling recipes that we're going to throw out there in July. As always, if you have any suggestions for this, you can hit us up on IG or Facebook at 555 Fitness. If you're looking for me for any reason, it's at 555-PIP. If you have any questions for Zoll about what we have going on with them, at Zollfire EMS on IG is another great way to reach out for them. And I would definitely be remiss, and CJ is waiting for me to say this as I see her finger go up, but we're finishing up May here, June 1st to July 1st. Fire, EMS, police, wildland, lifeguard, dispatch centers, anyone who is an emergency responder, a first alarm emergency responder, apply for the 555 Fitness grant. www.555fitness.org. We have Silver Valley Fire Alliance, Beaver Dam, winners of past grants joining us tonight. You've got to be in it to win it. There's no other way to say it. Our grant is made possible by great companies like Zoll that help support us in so many different ways. And this award is going to be worth close to $16,000 worth of fitness equipment, training, and supplements. And the folks at Beaver Dam are like, man, we won it 3 years ago when it wasn't as big. It just keeps growing thanks to some amazing support that we get from a lot of different companies like Zoll. So CJ, did I get it all in there? Anything else that I forgot? All right, boss. She's the grant foreman. So thank you all for joining in. We will see you next month. And everybody just kind of hang out because Haley's going to end the live. And